From acting to dancing, singing to activism, Shirley MacLaine has done it all and then some. But Shirley's parenting choices have sparked one of Hollywood's greatest mother-daughter rivalries. MacLaine's negligence turned her daughter, Sachi Parker, against her. The result? Parker plotted an act of revenge so painful it destroyed everything. With a career that spans over 8 decades, her struggles and triumphs pepper her unapologetic life. Even now, her wild eccentricities and controversial comments keep making headlines, as you will see. She has had a stunning career, but not everyone in Hollywood enjoyed working with McLean. In fact, some of her co-stars could not stand her. Stick around to find out who. The answer might surprise you. Shirley MacLaine Beatty was born in 1934 in Richmond, Virginia. Her love for performing was in her blood. Her father had dreamt of running away to the circus, and her mother was a passionate drama teacher. Her parents named her after the famous actress Shirley Temple. But MacLaine wasn't the only superstar in her family. When she was 3, MacLaine gained a new sibling, a little brother named Warren Beatty. The siblings were very close as kids. MacLaine has said, "He was my kid brother and we were friends, in fact, allies." She does admit, though, that on some subconscious level, they competed for their parents' attention. In the summer of her senior year, Shirley decided to try her hand at Broadway. Luck was on her side and she landed a part as a chorus girl from Oklahoma. Once she got a taste of acting, she felt that it was her greatest joy. She later said, "Once I graduated from high school, there was no question what I was going to do." She got the chance of a lifetime in 1954 when the lead actress in The Pajama Game injured her ankle. As her understudy, MacLaine had to step in. Suddenly, she was the star instead of the chorus girl, and luckily for her, an important person in the audience was watching. Film producer H.B. Wallace was in the audience that night, and he was so impressed by MacLaine that he signed her to a 5-year contract with Paramount Pictures. She made her big screen debut in Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry. Although the movie wasn't a huge hit, MacLaine was. She ended up winning her first Golden Globe for New Star of the Year. MacLaine soon realized that her boss seemed to like hanging out with her quite a lot. The pair spent many evenings just trying out new restaurants and chatting. She was young and starstruck, and frankly, she enjoyed Hitchcock's company as much as he seemed to like hers. Whatever MacLaine might have expected from her meetings with Hitchcock, it's safe to say she never expected criticism for their behavior. A few weeks into their routine of eating out together, MacLaine received a call from the head of Paramount Pictures. He told her she needed to stop eating or they'd have to tear up her contract. Apparently, she had gained 25 pounds from all that fine dining, and of course, the studio couldn't have that. After appearing in several pictures, MacLaine earned her first Academy Award and Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in Some Came Running in 1958. Although she didn't win, this wasn't the last time the Academy would recognize her for her amazing acting abilities. Not long after MacLaine made her mark in Hollywood, her brother Warren Beatty also headed to Tinseltown. He did not, however, want to ride on his sister's coattails. That's why he decided to use the last name his sister wasn't using and changed it even further by adding an extra T. He didn't want anyone to find out that MacLaine was his big sister. But there may have been another reason he wanted to keep their relationship a secret. A reporter once referred to Beatty as Shirley MacLaine's brother. This seemingly harmless introduction riled him, and he insisted that MacLaine be referred to as his sister instead of the other way around. Everyone heard about his demand, and his sister felt very hurt by it. She refused to talk about it, and most tellingly, she refused to talk to him. Thus began the MacLaine-Beatty Cold War. Today, MacLaine admits that she and Beatty have gone through their share of ups and downs, But at the end of the day, she calls him the person she has known the longest, loved the longest, and always will. The siblings never worked together because Shirley didn't think they'd make a good team. She always worried about him, especially before he settled down and got married. There was no denying that McLean excelled in her professional career, but was her personal life a huge hit too? Well, it certainly seemed like it. When she was 18 and part of the chorus on stage, she saw businessman Steve Parker walk into the room. From that moment, everything changed. She knew instantly that her life was about to take a whole new course. The couple married in 1954 and seemed to be very happy together. She called him her mate, counselor, friend, and even the love of her life. However, McLean certainly had her own take on love and marriage. Despite having feelings for Parker, she never wanted to be limited by monogamy. "I could never live a life where I felt tied down to a promise just because my love hormones were raging at the time." They decided to have an open marriage, which lasted 28 years. But was it all fine and dandy? Not quite. One day, McLean discovered that her husband was transferring large amounts of money to his girlfriend's account, her money. But she decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. She admitted that he should have asked her before using her money, but excused him because he intended to make profitable investments. Unfortunately, the projects all failed. It was probably a blessing that she learned about his investments before he completely bankrupted her. In 1956, McLean experienced a life-changing event. She became a mom. The couple named the child Stephanie Sachiko Parker and appeared to be over the moon at her arrival. Sadly, their euphoria wouldn't last long. Having a child at home is a full-time responsibility, one McLean wasn't prepared for, so she made a shocking decision. When Sachi was 6, McLean and Parker moved to Japan. The reason? McLean didn't think Hollywood was a safe place to raise a child. But although her intentions were good, her parenting plan had some serious flaws. McLean insists she was a very hands-on parent for the time she lived in Japan. Eventually, though, she faced a difficult choice. She couldn't stay in Japan if she wanted to continue working. Putting her work first, McLean left Sachi and her dad and flew back to Hollywood. From then on, she only got to see her daughter during Christmas and other holidays. This decision resulted in a tragic divide between mother and daughter. McLean secured the title role in Irma la Douce after Marilyn Monroe's tragic passing. However, she wasn't a fan of the film and found it surprising that the Academy nominated her for her performance. She shouldn't have been, though, considering how far she'd gone to prepare for it. In order to play the role of Irma, a Parisian sex worker, believably, McLean went to the source itself. She traveled to Paris and found that the ladies were very willing to talk to her about their lives. They insisted that she watch them in action and felt insulted when she tried to politely decline. Eventually, McLean agreed and watched the girls with a customer through a tiny window, all for the sake of art. Remember the guy who gave McLean her first break in movies, H.B. Wallace? Well, he may have thought that introducing her to Hollywood gave him some kind of control over her. But if he thought he could intimidate McLean, he had another thing coming. According to McLean, he tried to stick his darn tongue down her throat. McLean was furious. She slapped him hard and he backed off immediately, trying to save face by gifting her a sports car the next day. Perhaps he thought he could buy her silence, but his shocking and disgusting behavior continued. Next, he violated some terms in her contract. Of course, she wasn't going to take that lying down. In true boss lady fashion, she sued him and eventually won. This was the beginning of the end of the old school system of star management, and Shirley had started it. In 1966, McLean sued 20th Century Fox for a breach of contract. They had promised her a film remake of a play and backed out of the deal at the last minute. The case made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was finally decided in her favor. It was such a famous case that it made it to law textbooks as an example of employment contract law. If it hadn't been clear to her employers before, it certainly was now. Shirley MacLaine was not to be trifled with. When it came to on-set romances, McLean had a type. She liked dangerous and complicated men. Why? She enjoyed figuring them out, and if anyone fit the bill, it was Robert Mitchum. She had no reservations when it came to diving into a full-fledged affair with him. Interestingly, when she was a teenager, McLean had had a huge crush on Mitchum, so their dalliance was a literal dream come true. You'd think a woman as successful as McLean might worry about her fragile reputation, but she never thought twice about whether doing something would impact her career. That's why she flew around the world with Danny Kaye in search of good food. Her taste in men extended beyond the realm of Hollywood, too. McLean didn't shy away from pursuing men in politics. She certainly managed to befriend quite a few of them. From Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme to Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, not to mention Australian Foreign Minister Andrew Peacock. She managed to juggle colorful relationships with each of these powerful men. After being nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress several times, McLean finally brought the golden statuette home for her performance in Terms of Endearment. The film itself was a huge hit, and McLean's acting received rave reviews. Sadly, sometimes reality mirrors fiction, and that seems to be the case in Terms of Endearment, where McLean has a fraught relationship with on-screen daughter Deborah Winger. To say the pair didn't hit it off in reality either would be an understatement. In fact, Winger took rather extreme measures to ensure McLean knew exactly how she felt about her. According to McLean, Winger showed her what she thought of her by farting loudly and obviously in her direction. Still, Winger wasn't McLean's only antagonistic co-star. McLean worked alongside Anthony Hopkins in A Change of Seasons, and the two famously didn't get along at all. In fact, Hopkins called her the most obnoxious woman he'd ever shared a screen with and said she was overbearing and annoying. McLean's reply was a cool, "I don't like him either." It's no wonder that these two never worked together again. There are many things you might call McLean, but if there's one thing no one can call her, it's lazy. The woman has worked in over 60 films, appeared in several television shows, acted on Broadway, and as if that wasn't enough, she's also written 12 books. Most of these books explore her keen interests in reincarnation and metaphysics. McLean's spiritual beliefs are definitely not mainstream. She strongly believes that humans live many lives and that their souls keep showing up in different times and in different forms. Because of this, she also believes that she lived in Atlantis. Her other past lives have also seen her as a harem girl in Turkey, a Muslim gypsy in Morocco, and an entertainer in Isfahan. Although she often discusses her past lives in her writing, there's more than enough drama peppered throughout her current lifetime. Her incredibly busy acting career took a huge toll on her personal life. Her daughter, Sachi Parker, longed for a mother whom she could only see on screen. Sachi moved back to the US in 1981, hoping to reconnect with her mom and pursue acting as well. If you thought McLean would love having her daughter so close by after so long, you'd be wrong. In a tell-all autobiography titled Lucky Me, My Life with and Without My Mom, Shirley MacLaine, Sachi made a full disclosure about her non-existent relationship with her mother. Once, while Sachi attended high school in Europe, both McLean and Parker forgot about her at Christmas. Apart from being negligent and largely absent from her daughter's life, McLean had never helped her financially either. Sachi had to fend for herself, working several jobs as a skiing instructor, a waitress, and an au pair. She also claimed that McLean actively sabotaged her acting career. McLean had no time for Sachi's grievances. She said, "The book was a dishonest, opportunistic effort from the child she had only wanted the best for and whom she had always loved." Strong, talented, unapologetically herself, and full of some controversial opinions, Shirley MacLaine truly is a living legend. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more fascinating content.